Black Skinhead by Kanye West. Welcome everyone to the St. John Bosco post-game show. I'm your host, Nick Rice, alongside Chris Sylvester, who we have been with you for the entire St. John Bosco season. Those Braves are 10-0, including 5-0 in Trinity League play, and they are on their way to a Pac-5 division berth along with the top seed in those playoffs. The number one seed, the number one team in the state of California. Chris, your thoughts as those Braves are now playoff bound?
I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. They got an easy first-round opponent in many people's eyes in Aurora High School, the fourth-seeded team, the fourth-place team in the Miramonte League, which really doesn't compare to Trinity League. I mean, it's somewhat of a strong league. It has teams like Oaks Christian and Thousand Oaks and St. Bonaventure in it, but that doesn't really match up to the level that the Braves have been playing at in Trinity League play. I like the first matchup. I like the first round matchup for St. John Bosco. I think it gives them not a knock against Aguero at all, but I just think St. John Bosco's at absolutely another level than the Aguero Chargers, coached by Charlie Weger. I think it gives St. John Bosco a chance to possibly rest some guys, and that's what we talked about with Sean McGrew after the game on Friday when Bosco beat Servite 42-21. And I also think it's a good opportunity to let some other guys that don't usually get playing time to play in the playoffs, because come next season, all these seniors are going to be gone, and you're going to have to give some of these second-tier guys who are going to be first-tier guys next year some playoff experience. So I think it's all good for St. John Bosco in the first-round playoff matchup this Friday at 7:30 against Aguero High School.
I'll make sure to tune into that, and also to the remainder of the postseason. We'll see exactly how far we get with these Bosco Braves. We hope to bring you the entire playoff season, as it is 6 games until the final game that we hope to host with you, which is the state championship. We'll bring you, hopefully, the entire road to that state title here at the Spreaker.com radio station. St. John Bosco has been the number one team in the state. They have pummeled all of their opponents. Their closest to ever seeing some sort of a L in the loss column is obviously to those Olu Lancers. It was an 18-point deficit, but that was about it. And then 14 to Loyola. That is as close as they have gotten to defeat. 10-0 throughout the entire season. But we did see those Braves offensively somewhat fall off a little bit as we saw those last couple of games. Josh Rosen, not the same quarterback that we saw those first few games. The rushing offense did pick up the slack to some degree, but it was defense and special teams that really carried the Braves during those last 2 games, especially against Mater Dei, as it just seemed to me that the offense was not on the same page. Do you believe that once the playoff time comes around, we start seeing some better opponents as we expect after these first 2 rounds? Do you expect this offense to pick up the slack, or are we seeing a switch as far as offense goes from a passing team to a running team under Sean McGrew?
I think you're going to see the passing game for St. John Bosco pick up just a little bit. I think, over the course of a Trinity League season, it starts to wear on you as an offense. And obviously Josh Rosen early in the season dealt with a shoulder injury that kept him out a couple of games, and recently he's been dealing with a nagging thumb injury, but he's been playing through it. I think having, like you said, somewhat of an easy opponent the first 2 rounds, of course Bosco, assuming they beat Agora in the first round, they get the winner of Cabrillo and Tesoro.
We're not looking at powerhouses at all the first 2 rounds at all by any stretch.
No, we're not looking at any powerhouses in the first 2 rounds by any means. But as far as the offense goes, I think all the offense needs is a little bit of a confidence boost, and I think they're going to get that in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs when they see a little bit easier of competition compared to the competition they've been seeing the last 5 games in Trinity League play. So I think all the offense needs is a little bit of confidence, and I think they'll get that the first 2 rounds of the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and then when it does come time for that 3rd round semifinal playoff game, assuming they make it there for the 2nd consecutive season, you're probably going to see them play Harvard Westlake. It's not Harvard Westlake. Westlake Village or Servite, because those 2 teams match up in the first round, and that's probably. I mean, I don't see Lakewood or Alemany really making it to the semifinals. Maybe Alemany. They did win the Sarah League, but they did lose to Loyola. And Loyola, when St. John Bosco played them, don't let that 14-point loss fool you, because Bosco was playing with the backup quarterback, Andrew Katnick, who did a very good job against them, but Bosco had some late freaky turnovers in that game that made the score somewhat close. But I think the offense just needs a spark, and I think they'll get it in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Josh Rosen, 5-star, fantastic, excellent quarterback. Shea Fields, Jaleel Wadood, fantastic receivers. I mean, even when Josh Rosen's not at his best, and Nick, we've seen this the last couple of weeks, those screen passes just straight to the wide receiver, Jaleel Wadood and Shea Fields, that gives Bosco all the way down the field just because of their pure athleticism. So I think the offense and the passing game, most importantly, will be fine for St. John Bosco when it's all said and done. All Josh Rosen and the passing offense needs is a little bit of confidence, and I'm sure they'll get that against a lower opponent in these first 2 rounds of the CIF Pac-5 playoffs.
Yeah, we're talking about receivers that are catching 17 yards per reception. They are blazing down the football field. That's getting 17 yards per catch. That is insane. And also 24 touchdowns on the season. Just looking at Max Prep stats over here. But we are talking about the playoffs, and we're moving on to bigger and better things here for the Bosco Braves. In the first round, Bosco and Aguara. Can you say that correctly, Chris?
Aguara. I've never heard of them.
Right, and I mean, I think they won't be very familiar with a team like Bosco either, as we are unfamiliar with them. And then Cabrillo and Tesoro, that's the other opponent. And
Tesoro, if we all remember last year, drew St. John Bosco in the first round, and that was a very good game. Tesoro, it was 17-17 at the half last year when Tesoro took on St. John Bosco in the first round of the CIF Pac-5 playoffs last year, and then Bosco ended up winning that game 38-17, pulling away in the second half. Tesoro, a more depleted team this year. They had a really good dual-threat quarterback that gave Bosco a lot of trouble last year. He departed due to graduation. And then Cabrillo, Moore League team. Kalen Price, former St. John Bosco Brave, transferred out after his freshman year. His brother is Keith Price, the starting quarterback for the Washington Huskies. So that's a little bit of familiarity with Cabrillo High School. But I agree. I think that Bosco won't really be tested until the semifinals when they see Alemany, Westlake, or Servite, because I really don't think Lakewood's going to get past the first round.
We're taking a look at that CIF bracket, and we move over to the other side, as there are more than just those teams that are playing. First round, I like the contest between Olu and Long Beach Poly. Who do you find as the winner in that matchup?
As much as I want to say Long Beach Poly because of what they've been doing in Moore League play, in the end, it's just Moore League play, and the Moore League doesn't match up to the Trinity League by any means at all. And not to bash the Moore League, I'm sure there's a lot of fine athletes and a lot of fine teams in that league as far as, Long Beach, LA County football goes, but it just simply does not compare to Trinity League football play. And just going a little bit in depth to that matchup, Long Beach Poly outscored Moore League opponents. You ready for this? They outscored Moore League opponents in all 6 games. They had 6 league games. Long Beach Poly outscored Moore League opponents 2.
Oh my gosh. We're talking about a team that, isn't even supposed to contest with Olu. What's that all about?
No, I do think Long Beach Poly is going to contest with Olu, and I think Long Beach Poly has a shot at winning that game just because it's at Vet Stadium, which is the home of the Jackrabbits. But I just think that as good as Long Beach Poly's defense is, and let's not forget, earlier in the season, Long Beach Poly did beat a good Crenshaw team. They did beat the defending CIF champion Corona Centennial Huskies, one of only 2 losses on the season for Corona Centennial. So don't let that fly over your head. But I just think that Orange Lutheran's going to go in there with that triple option offensive attack, and Long Beach Poly hasn't seen a good offense since the preseason. They don't see good offenses in Moore League play. There's just not those type of offenses in the Moore League. And there's really no offense like, I don't know how many times we've said this when talking about Orange Lutheran. There is no offense like the Orange Lutheran Lancers really anywhere in high school football. You're not going to find the triple option offense really anywhere in high school football. And I think Long Beach Poly is going to have some trouble stopping the triple option attack. Luke Langdon, Adam Kennedy. I mean, so many weapons on that Orange Lutheran offense. And let's not forget about the defense for the Lancers as well. And Long Beach Poly, yeah, they have a lot of good athletes on the offensive side of the ball, most notably Juju Smith. He's one of the top wide receivers in the country. But the quarterback play has been somewhat shaky all season long for Long Beach Poly. And the running game has been somewhat steady, but let's see how they do against a very good, very tested, battlefield-tested Orange Lutheran Lancer defense. This, to me, is the matchup of the first round, and I'm really interested to see what the outcome of this game is, because I strongly believe that the winner of this game is going to battle Mission Viejo very difficultly in the semifinals, assuming the winner of that game makes it that far, and assuming Mission Viejo also makes it that far as well.
Mission Viejo plays Crespi in the first round. We expect a win by Viejo, if I don't take away from your words there. But we haven't seen an offense like Olu, and I'm very happy to, not just as a football fan, but as an Orange Lutheran fan to some degree. I've loved their triple option, absolutely. And we're rushing for 288 yards a game is an offense that we haven't seen before. And being the top rushing offense in the Trinity League basically means that you're the rushing powerhouse in the entire state, as this team just loves to run the football. I mean, we're talking about a team that you mentioned, Chris, in our recent broadcast, has passed the ball under 10 times more than half the season. This team just doesn't pass the football. They barely even elected to do some sort of even a screen pass during our game against Bosco. So that team, bearing that they can use their running game to beat Long Beach Poly and the winner of St. Bonaventure and Notre Dame, looks like it's going to be Olu and either Mission Viejo or Mater Dei for the winner to move on to the finals. And what do you expect in the second and third round of the postseason for those Lancers, and can they move on?
I think Orange Lutheran has all the capabilities in the world to move on, but I don't know if they really have the experience on the big stage. I mean, as impressed as I've been with Orange Lutheran all season long, that last game of the season, the 15-0 fall to Mater Dei, kind of has me kind of second-guessing myself about how really good this Orange Lutheran Lancer team is, because, we saw a Mater Dei team lose back-to-back games to Santa Margarita, the last-place team in the Trinity League this year, and then, of course, they really didn't show up when they came to St. John Bosco. That was supposed to be the game of the week. It turned out into another blowout for the Braves, but I don't know about Orange Lutheran anymore after that. I do think that they have the chance to beat Long Beach Poly. I am picking them very slightly over Long Beach Poly, but after that, it's really up in the air. I think we're not as familiar with Mission Viejo, with St. Bonaventure, with Notre Dame, with Oaks Christian, schools like that. So I think it's kind of not fair for us really to judge that far along, just because we're more accustomed to Trinity League football compared to the league that Mission Viejo, Oaks Christian, Notre Dame, and St. Bonaventure come from. So, if Orange Lutheran plays like they did the first half against St. John Bosco and plays like they did against the Santa Margarita Eagles when they beat them 56-14, then I think Orange Lutheran has a very good chance to get to the semifinals and a very good chance to possibly knock off Mission Viejo and get to that championship game at Angels Stadium in just a few weeks. So I'm really excited for the playoffs to get underway, and like I said previously, Orange Lutheran Long Beach Poly, to me, that is the game of the week. Possibly even the game of the year up to date. I just think it's going to be a fantastic matchup between two hard-nosed football teams, two fantastic head coaches, and just two teams that know how to win.
Yeah, obviously, Orange Lutheran. I mean, I'm also looking at a team in Olu as well. I mean, you did mention that devastating loss. They happened to sneak into the playoffs. I'm glad the CIF. I mean, bracketology. I don't even know what you call those guys that order what teams do make it and what teams don't. And it really is somewhat disappointing for a team like J. Sarah in the Trinity League, obviously on paper a much better talent than some of the 4 and 6 teams that happened to.
Yeah, how about I was going to ask you about that eventually.
Yeah,
Crespi 4 and 6, getting in.
Not the only team with a losing record, though. By the way, that are in the postseason, and we're playing a team, Aguara, who, in my mind, shouldn't even be on the same field as the Bosco Braves. I mean, they would probably have their hands full against our JV team, to be quite honest with you. So, I mean, there are teams in the playoffs that obviously don't match up to J. Sarah, but based off of record-wise, you got to get them in because they're in a division. Like, you got to get someone in their division into the postseason. I mean, it somewhat is a shame for J. Sarah, but I do believe the better team is Olu in modern day. At the end of the day, I mean, it's just based off of head-to-head contests. And also I want to contest for Olu that outside of that last game of the season has been in every single contest this season. I mean, they beat out J. Sarah in the Trinity League, obviously after going 5-0 in non-league play. Then we had our hands full, Bosco did, up until the fourth quarter with Olu. Final score was only an 18-point deficit, 42-24. And then the last-second loss to Servite. I mean, you can't put that on a team that fought so hard and lost on. You can't say a fluke play, but you can say just a gamble down the field. If the game was only 47-55, it would have been all over. Instead, it was 48 minutes. And then Santa Margarita blew them out. In my mind, this is the second-best team in the Trinity League. Sorry for the outside background noise here. But, yeah, Orange Lutheran, in my mind, the second-best team. And if I want to have a favorite, Chris, if Bosco can get through their rounds of the playoffs and reach the finals, I don't believe that any team outside of Olu is going to be there to meet the Bosco Braves in the finals.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Mission Viejo would contest that statement because they are a very polished squad, 10-0. They're the only other undefeated team in the playoffs, which is pretty remarkable. So, obviously, Mission Viejo for against St. John Bosco in the finals at Angel Stadium is a match made in heaven. But, if Orange Lutheran has anything to say about it, I think that, they certainly have a shot if they can get that far and play Mission Viejo. But let's not forget they can't overlook the defending CIF Southern Section champion Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits. So it's really exciting, and I think we're all we've all been waiting since about week 6 or 7 when we knew St. John Bosco was pretty much going to coast through Trinity League play. We've all been waiting for the bracket to come out, and now the bracket's out, and now it's just all about anticipation. Now we're waiting around and seeing what team matches up best against St. John Bosco, because there is no doubt that St. John Bosco is the team to beat in this bracket for sure.
Well, right now, St. John Bosco plays Aguara this Friday night, but just coming from a football fan, the games that you want to look out for are Olu and Long Beach Poly, and then Crespi and Mission Viejo. And even take a quick look at Mater Dei and Oaks Christian. Just see exactly what Mater Dei can bring in the postseason. We've seen an inconsistent ball club in those Monarchs throughout the regular season. In Trinity League play, absolutely. So what do you expect, Chris, in round number 1? If we can just take a quick prediction segment to look at winners and losers throughout round number 1, what do you expect to advance to the second round and have our fans some sort of an idea of what we're going to expect coming up after Friday night?
I think, obviously, like we've been saying the entire show, St. John Bosco, the team to beat, they're going to move on and play the winner of Cabrillo and Tesoro. A lot of my Long Beach fans, because I am a Long Beach native, and Cabrillo is in Long Beach, somewhere in Long Beach. I've never been there. But a lot of local media outlets are predicting that the big upset of the first round will be Cabrillo over Tesoro. Do I agree with that? No. I think Tesoro is going to move on, and it's going to be a rematch of the first round between Tesoro and St. John Bosco from last year. Should be a decent game. Tesoro, a very proud Southern California high school football program. Servite Westlake, that's going to be another fantastic game. Don't overlook that game as being one of the best games of the first round of the playoffs. I think I'll take Westlake over Servite. I just think that Servite just doesn't have the offense to match up with Westlake, and Westlake just 2 years removed from a state championship. So I think I'll take Westlake in the first round between Servite and Westlake, but it will be a very good game. I mean, we just saw Servite play a very good 2.5 quarters against St. John Bosco this past Friday. Lakewood and Alemany, I don't think that's even a contest. Alemany, the Sarah League champions. Lakewood, the third-place team in the Moore League, the last Moore League team getting into the CIF Pac-5 playoffs. I'll take Alemany there. As far as the other bracket goes, Orange Lutheran, Long Beach Poly. I'll go with Orange Lutheran, but I'm not too confident with that pick, just because of the way Orange Lutheran, like I said, played against Mater Dei, that 15-0 loss to end the season. I don't know if that gives them any momentum going forward into that game. Long Beach Poly's won 7 in a row. I'll take Orange Lutheran for whatever reason. Maybe it's just because I'm a Trinity League guy and that Long Beach Poly knocked out St. John Bosco last year. Maybe that has something to do with my picking of Orange Lutheran in the first round of that game. St. Bonaventure, Notre Dame. We saw Notre Dame almost beat St. John Bosco in the second round of the playoffs last year. I'll take Notre Dame over St. Bonaventure. Bonaventure actually had a close game with these Aguara Chargers, who St. John Bosco is going to see in the first round. The final game of the regular season, they beat Aguara 49-40. It's a little bit too close for me, and I'll just take Notre Dame over St. Bonaventure. Mater Dei Oaks Christian is going to be another fantastic game. At Oaks Christian, I think Oaks Christian's going to pull it out, but it's going to be a very good game.
Both teams are 8-2 going into that game.
Yeah, I just don't think Mater Dei has the offensive capability to keep up with Oaks Christian. I really don't. Oaks Christian hasn't had the best offensive games either against quality opponents. I remember watching one of their early season games against Chaminade and their star quarterback, Brian Dawkins, who's Arizona bound. I remember him struggling in that game. So I'll take Oaks Christian, but once again, that's another toss-up for me. That's another fantastic game. Could go either way. I'd like to see Mater Dei move on just to represent the Trinity League well. I mean, there's a very good chance that the Trinity League has all 4 teams that are in the playoffs advance to the second round, but certainly I'm picking against all of them except Orange Lutheran and St. John Bosco. So I'll take Oaks Christian slightly over Mater Dei. And then Crespi Mission Viejo. Crespi shouldn't even be in the playoffs. It should be Jay Serra. I really feel for the seniors and Casey Eugenio and Dante Pettis, who are fantastic football players.
Those guys are revolutionary. I'm going to love to see those guys in college. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're definitely going to be playing at the next level. But I feel bad for them, so I'm just going to go Mission Viejo, obviously. 10-0 versus 4-6 in the first round. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, so we're taking a look at the predictions here, and we're going to go off of your predictions, Chris, because you've been a long-time Trinity League fan. But I do want to contest that. I would say, just based off of pure gut and my limited experience being a part of the St. John Bosco broadcast team, I would want to make a case for Cabrillo, but I will go with Tesoro. I think that Servite can get it done over Westlake, and I think that Olu can beat Long Beach Poly. Other than that, I do agree with your predictions, and I think I'm going to go with Mater Dei over Oaks Christian. I just believe that Mater Dei being exposed to Trinity League play more, I think that plays a part in actual playoff battles and competition, because this has been a team that has seen the best in the state week in and week out. They have basically been in the playoffs for the last 5 weeks. So I believe that they have an edge based off of that alone in actually getting it done. But if we're going off of your predictions, Chris, in the second round, Bosco's going to take on Tesoro and Westlake's going to take on Alemany. I think that we can all agree that Bosco's going to move on, but Westlake and Alemany, boy, what a contest. A couple of powerhouses of their own right, Who do you feel is winning that game?
I think that's a tough one for me. I think both teams are very, very inconsistent. They've had their showings. They've had positive showings. They've had negative showings as far as Alemany goes. I mean, they did lose to Loyola, and Loyola, I mean, despite having a close game against St. John Bosco, not really the cream of the crop like they usually are. So as far as that game goes, I'm not an expert on, the Thousand Oak area football, but I think I'll take Westlake just based off of experience. I think the Westlake Warriors, they've been there before. Alemany, not really battle-tested as much as Westlake is as far as competition goes in league play and in non-league play. So I think it'll be a good contest between Westlake and Alemany, but I guess I'll take Westlake. I'm not too strong on that pick. I'd have to study up a little bit more on those two squads, but I guess I'll take Westlake. And then I just don't see either of those teams contending even with St. John Bosco, even in the semifinals, even at a neutral site. I just think St. John Bosco is just at another level than those two squads.
Westlake and Alemany, both 8-2 on the season. Looks like you're going to take. What are you taking for that game, Chris? We're just going to go right through these predictions here. What do you feel like is going to win that game?
What, Westlake, Alemany?
Westlake, Alemany.
Westlake, I'd take Westlake. Alemany, I remember Bosco 2 years ago. They went into Alemany down in Mission Hills and they beat Alemany 33-31. Was a good game. Don't know too much about Alemany and Westlake's ball clubs this year. Obviously, both they've been good in the past, but like I said, I mean St. John Bosco. I mean you know this as well. I mean we've been watching them all season long, and they have not disappointed one bit in any single game.
Absolutely, and then we're also looking at Westlake and Alemany. That should be a big time contest. I think that might be the contest of the week coming up next week. Olu and Notre Dame. Who are you taking?
Olu Notre Dame. That's a very, very intriguing matchup for me. Once again, I'll go Trinity League in that one. I think if our predictions are even right, I think we're going a little bit too far here. But I'll take Orange Lutheran. I just don't think that these other teams who aren't in the Trinity League, they don't see anything close to what Orange Lutheran's offense brings to the table.
Playoffs for 5 straight weeks, in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. That's how a lot of people put it. The Trinity League is almost more. I mean, you can make an argument that the Trinity League is more difficult than the Pac-5 playoffs.
Crespi might contend with that too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's obviously a good point. Orange Lutheran, in my mind, I mean, if they were in any other league, they would at least go 9-1. At least. In my mind, I just think that the Trinity League is full of... I have no idea why every team is so good, but it might just be the fact that just that area is so focused on winning, I guess, and there's obviously more talent coming into the Trinity League, but I just don't understand why one league, one area can be so much better than the rest of the state. It's just, in my mind, I can't even put it together why one area would be so much better on paper. I think first of it has to do with the type of kids, the type of young adults, the type of teens that come from those areas, like Orange County, Rancho Santa Margarita area, LA County. I mean, tell me that Southern California is not a football powerhouse as far as producing players at the next level. I mean, you go Trojans,
exactly
too, looking at college,
exactly.
UCLA, I mean, the San Diego Chargers, obviously the SDSU Aztecs, another fantastic football school. I mean, we're talking Southern California is football.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of a debate we had all the way back in the first game. What's Southern California better at producing, baseball players or football players? That's a discussion that could go on and on and on. And we don't have on and on and on time here on Spreaker.com National Sports. But, yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And you also got to look at the alumni, most notably Modern Day, the players that they've brought to the next level to NCAA Division I football. Matt Barkley, Matt Leinart. I mean, both Heisman guys who are in the discussion for the Heisman, guys who were fantastic college quarterbacks who went on to play in the NFL. You look at a school like St. John Bosco, who just got Leon McFadden of the Cleveland Browns, who's actually at the game on Friday against Servite. And you look at Keith Price, who's going to be headed for the NFL next year. He's a Bosco alum as well. Those are just some of the very, very few names that have come from Trinity League play. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of Division I guys in Trinity League football. I mean, you talk about the last place team in the league in Santa Margarita. I mean, they have one of the top receivers in Kyle Sweet. They have a 4-star sophomore quarterback in KJ Costello. Their running back is committed to the University of Utah. So there really is no weak point in the Trinity League. And so I think that just the tradition and the history of the Trinity League continues to make it so good year after year, and that's why the Trinity League is always regarded as the highest, the most prestige high school football league in Southern California, if you just want to take it that far as well.
Well, if we were the most prestigious football high school radio broadcast, we would definitely give you up-to-date predictions. And we're going to move along here. Oaks Christian and number 2 Mission Viejo. These, again, are Chris Sylvester's predictions as to who will move on in these CLF playoff bracket. We're just making this thing simpler than it is right now as we move on towards the next couple rounds of the playoffs.
It's bracketology.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not just a radio broadcast, but Olu is going to take on the winner of Oaks Christian and number 2 Mission Viejo. If everything goes as planned, who do you believe is going to win that game? Oaks Christian and Mission Viejo, the only other undefeated squad.
I'll take Mission Viejo. I just think Mission Viejo is like St. John Bosco on another level than the other teams in their side of the bracket. Mission Viejo really doesn't play anybody too fantastic in league play, but if you do remember, in the same Under Armour Classic that St. John Bosco participated in when they beat the Chandler Wolves from Arizona 52-31 back in Week 3, Mission Viejo played Don Bosco Prep. And if you know anything about high school football, Don Bosco Prep is the epitome of high school football. They reside in New Jersey. Don Bosco Prep, now it's St. John Bosco, is kind of the epitome of high school football, if you want to call it that. But Don Bosco Prep, the Ironmen, for so many years have been regarded as one of the top high school football programs in the nation, and they were able to knock off Don Bosco Prep in double overtime, I believe it was. And that was really the win that got Mission Viejo up there in the rankings and started to get them hyped come postseason time. And sure enough, they were able to ride out the regular season on a winning streak. They ended up 10-0. As good of a ball club as Oaks Christian is, and even if Mater Dei does get by Oaks Christian, I just don't think Mater Dei or Oaks Christian are really tests for Mission Viejo. I just think Mission Viejo's just on another level than those two teams. So I'll take Mission Viejo going to the semifinals.
And then Olu and Mission Viejo, they go back-to-back, very hard teams to play to a game plan for, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Lancers, and then Mission Viejo. Who do you have winning that game?
Mission Viejo, not because I think Mission Viejo is that much better of a team than Orange Lutheran. I just think by that time you'll have played 12 games, most likely all of them tough if you're Orange Lutheran, because Orange Lutheran hasn't had the luxury that St. John Bosco's had, where by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, you have a chance to sit your starters and rest them up for next week. Orange Lutherans had to grind in every single Trinity League football game outside of that blowout win they had at Saddleback College against Santa Margarita a couple of weeks ago. Mission Viejo, on the other hand, is like St. John Bosco, where by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, they're able to rest their starters and get them, make sure they're healthy, make sure nothing happens to them late in the game when they don't need to use them. That's how good Mission Viejo's been so far this season. So I'll take Mission Viejo in that game, getting to the finals against St. John Bosco, and I think that will be one heck of a game at Angel Stadium, one that you won't want to miss.
Absolutely. And boy, if that were to happen, it'd be fun to watch those two offenses go to work, huh, Chris? if we do indeed see Mission Viejo and St. John Bosco with the winner claiming the Pac-5 division, boy, what a fantastic battle between two of the undefeateds. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to those two teams because as far as regular season and league play goes, without a doubt, the winners, or the two best teams, as not only by the seedings but also by the way they've played, have been Mission Viejo and St. John Bosco. If it hasn't been Bosco, Mission Viejo has been the class of this Pac-5 division. If these two teams were to go head-to-head in the finals, who do you believe would have? Do you believe Mission Viejo has any sort of a chance to take down Bosco?
Absolutely. I think Mission Viejo would give St. John Bosco a very close, a very tightly contested, and just a very classic high school football game between two programs on the rise in Southern California. I will take St. John Bosco just because of the defense, even if Mission Viejo's defense is able to kind of shut down Josh Rosen, Sean McGrew, and Jaleel Wadood, which really hasn't been done so far this season. Even if they're able to kind of stifle the Braves' offense, I just think that Bosco's defense is too good to let a team outscore them even in a low-scoring game. I just think that I think Bosco and Mission Viejo is probably the closest team as far as talent goes to St. John Bosco, but I still think Bosco has the upper hand as far as athletes go and as far as defense goes. And the old saying, defense wins championships, and if it comes down to Mission Viejo versus St. John Bosco, I'll take the best defensive team in the nation, the St. John Bosco Braves.
This is going to be an entertaining game to watch nonetheless, Chris. Lasting thoughts here as we get going towards the CIF playoffs, and in my mind, perhaps a month and a half of the most entertaining football you could ever see at the non-collegiate or professional level.
Just you saying that right there, it makes me smile. I think we've been waiting for this for the last couple of weeks, just seeing those brackets come out, and once it's almost like March Madness for high school football, really. We've been anticipating the brackets for just so long, and St. John Bosco's kind of the Kentucky of a couple years ago of this year's Pac-5 high school football playoff bracket. So I'm just really excited to get it underway. Obviously, it's just an honor and it's a privilege to be able to broadcast the first couple of rounds of the playoffs at least. We'll get things situated with the CIF, hopefully, to bring you all 6 of the games, which would be really good. But we just like to take this time to thank everybody who's been listening each and every Friday night to St. John Bosco football. And we invite you guys to join us to continue the journey this Friday at 7:30 p.m. on Spreaker.com/National Sports for another special presentation of St. John Bosco football as the Braves take on the Aguara Chargers in the first round of the CIF Pac-5 Division playoffs.
St. John Bosco 10-0 in the season. Aguara 6-4 so far in the regular season. They're going to be matching up Friday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time.
7:30. 7:30. It's the playoffs. We're even more prime time now.
Even more prime time. Just in case you guys have nothing going on Friday night, it's going to be a great game, guys. Make sure to tune in. Braves Chargers. Keep it tuned. Spreaker.com, affiliate of National Sports Radio Station. Chris, it's been a fun ride. It really has been. It's been exciting.
Oh yeah. And St. John Bosco is just so good that we might have 6 more weeks of covering this team.
Make sure to keep it tuned, guys. It's going to be fantastic. Friday night on Spreaker.com, an affiliate of National Sports. That was Chris Sylvester. I am Nick Rice. Thank you guys for joining us. And make sure to tune back in Friday night as Chris and I, along with Adam Ferrister and our entire broadcast crew, bring you the game between the Braves and the Chargers, 7:30 Pacific. Keep it tuned on Spreaker.com. Signing off for the post-game show. That was Chris Sylvester, and I am Nick Rice. Thank you guys, and have a great Monday, Veterans Day. Make sure to thank all those who have served not only your country, but also helped you live in perhaps the greatest nation in the world, being the United States. Just want to give a a quick thank you and my appreciation to all those who have served, all the veterans out there, not only those who are alive, but those who have given their life for this country. I mean, our debts are due, and there's no way we can pay back those. Happy Veterans Day, guys! And for Chris Sylvester, I am Nick Rice, and that was the post game show. We'll make again Friday night 7:30 right here on Spreaker.com.